Hey, yo, man, what time is it?
You know what time it is, man.
2 a.m.?
Yeah, man.
Man, you know what?
What's that?
It's 8:46, bro.
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah, you know what time that is.
Yeah, man.
Nappy head,
Yo,
Funk Army.
what's up?
Stand up. Get in line, y'all.
Yo, Mo, drop that beat.
You know what we gotta do.
Yeah, man.
We bringing this funk just for you.
You know,
Repeat after me. Say, you don't have to be the best, just gotta outlast the rest. You don't have to be the best,
you don't.
just gotta outlast the rest.
No, you
You don't have to be the best, just gotta outlast the rest. You don't have to be the best, just gotta outlast the rest. United we stand, divided we fall. Should our backs ever be against the wall, we'll be together until the jam is done. I'ma say that again for you. United we stand, divided we fall. Should our backs ever be against the wall, we'll be together until the jam is done. Here we go, y'all. Now let me tell you a little story about United We Stand. It says we're gonna funk across this funkless land. We gon' stand up and let our voices be heard. We ain't gonna let nobody stop us from spreading the spiritual word. The ruthless corporate greedy don't give a damn about the needies. We need everybody in the house to join us on this one, all right? Y'all say, united we stand, divided we fall. Should our backs ever be against the wall, we'll be together until the jam is done. Are y'all out there? You feeling it? United we stand, come on, y'all. Divided we fall. Should our backs ever be against the wall, we'll be together until the jam is done. Yeah. Check. 1, 2, 1, 2. United we stand, divided we fall. Funkin' with the poor people most of all, as they poison our mind with food control. Third eye is wise, sacrifice. Wake up and see what they doing to you and me. Keeping a separate product of Illuminati, like the jail cell did my boss John Gotti. Dirty politics and high-priced prostitution reside in all the important positions. Just look around at the injustice in the world. Some forced to live in a deplorable conditions. Watch us, watch what we do. This rap is coming up just for you. So sit back, relax, check out our phone calls. The nappy hip-hop army always bumping in your drum. Twitter, tweet, the TikTok. The ruthless corporate greedies don't give a damn about the needies. A movement, genocide and homicide is happening all around the world. Promise me this, promise me that, when all the fat cats stabbing us in the back. Man, get off my back, bro. Killing me. Let me see you wave your hand. We all wanna take a stand. Rise up against the corporate man. Let me head all across this land. Oh yeah. Nothing but this new type funk 2022.
up? What's up? What's up, all my True Funk Soldiers, Club Funketeers, all the groovy people all around the world? Welcome to another episode, our first one of 2025. I'm really amped up today. I'm hyped. I got my dog from Texas, George Funkovich, is in the house. Of course, my producer extraordinaire and recently published author, Mr. Mark Lee, is in the house. So I want to welcome everybody to the show. And we're going to get this one started. It's weird. We got to start off with, some stuff. And unfortunately, we weren't going to talk about things like that, but it rears its ugly head again, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. But today we're going to get into something that's positive. We just want to talk about, trying to keep, a calm out there. And please join us on the chat line. Go back and please put in your comments. I'll get to them later during the week. You can always find us right here. Again, we have to put that disclaimer up now. We're heading into our 5th year, believe it or not. May will start our actual official 5th season, but we're already into our 5th year, which to me just seems completely unfathomable. I'm grateful, and we want to thank everybody that tuned in to every show, all the great people that we had on. I can't name them all, but it's a lot. I think last time I checked, it was well over 100 guests that we've had, and I think that's like very, very cool. And, our word of the day is going to be gratitude. Today, we just want to have gratitude and give gratitude, like Earth, Wind, and Fire says. We just want to give gratitude. So, that's our word of the day. And be grateful for the things that you have. And then try to understand people that are struggling out there. If you have mental health issues, always, try to reach out and make a phone call or try to talk to someone or go seek help in a professional manner. There's no shame in that, and try to be kind to people that are definitely struggling. Everybody is going to be, trying to make it the best way they can, especially as we kick off 2025 and get it going, and I think that that's very important how we start this year. You always want to get off to a good start, whether it be health, whether it be diet, whether it be exercise, whether it be, just finishing up projects, starting new ones, following through on projects, seeking out grants or whatever for your projects. There's a lot of things out there that I think we need to pay attention to as far as the universe is providing for us, and all the positive stuff. My producer, Mr. Mark Lee, and I were talking before the show, getting it prepped a little minute ago. And we were talking about all the positive things that, we want to put out there and the positive things that we want to try to keep going. We all got personal struggles and strifes in our lives, but, we want to just try to pay it forward and try to do the right thing out there. So without further ado, I'm going to ask Mr. Mark Lee, while I'm taking off my funky Bootsy glasses. Thank you, Bootsy and Patty. Love y'all. And put on my eye spectacles, as they said to my cousin Vinny, my respectable eye spectacle glasses. And we're going to ask, we bring in George the Funkovich. Bring him in, Mark, for me, yo. Whew.
Hey, what's funky, y'all?
What's up, yo? I'm seeing you, yo. I'm loving that, man.
Oh,
How you doing? How you doing?
Good, man. How you feel?
I'm good, man. 2025, bro. We here. We in it.
Happy New Year to y'all all.
Yeah, man. I've been watching your Facebook and how you've been dropping all your new art, man. And we're going to get into that in a minute. But how are you and your family doing? Y'all all right?
Yeah, man. We hanging in there, man. We here, still 10 toes down, walking around.
Hey, I like that. 10 toes down.
That's right.
That's mad cool. When that first came out, I didn't even know what that meant until somebody explained it to me. 10 toes up, 10 toes down. Like, what are they talking about? and then I figured it out. I was like, oh, okay, 10 toes up. You don't really want to be 10 toes up.
No, you don't. You don't. Yeah.
Because that means that you want to know the journey. So, yeah, I figured that out. Today, man, we're going to get into the top 10 things that happened in 2024. I have a list. And then we're going to get into some of George's work and find out what he's doing. And we're going to bring Mr. Mark Lee in, and, he can tell us about all the great things that he's doing, the hardest working man in the internet podcast industry. But first, I want to give a shout out to everybody out there who made it to 2025. So give yourselves a hand because it ain't easy. You know. And I just want to say thank you once again. I can't believe we started this almost 5 years ago, you know, during the COVID era, right? And that's been like quite a journey. So I'm grateful for everybody. But George, tell us a little bit about your reflective thoughts. And we'll get into New Orleans and Vegas a little bit later. But tell us about your reflective thoughts leaving 2024 and entering 2025.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I would like a redo of the 2024 year. Okay? I would like a redo because, man, you can't tell me that all the women out here voted for 45 to be 47. I don't get it.
Nobody does.
Yeah.
I think the fix was in, bro.
He had 4 years to plan it. Hey, 4 years of planning and anything is going to be successful. I'm just, you know.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it. You see? Yeah, no way, man. And some, you know what they say, everything, all the dirt always come out in the wash. You know what I mean? It's gonna come out. You know, that the fix was there, and then
I believe that
that's gonna be a issue. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Do you think, looking back, that and we're not gonna dwell on this too much, but do you think, looking back, that Joe should have relinquished a little bit earlier, or you don't think it would have made a difference?
I think after his second year of this term, he should have stepped down and gave the reins to Kamala.
Right. And you know what's funny? I thought about that. He still could have ran the country, but from the back seat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He still could have implemented all his things, but it would have gave her a little bit more of a push. I agree with you, man. So that's one thing.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, reflectively speaking, when it comes to that part of it, I think a lot of people are still kind of hurt and reeling from it.
Yeah.
So that's why we got to go into 2025 with some energy. We can't let that from last year's energy drag us down, even though it was pretty painful for a lot of people, myself included. So I think that we need to just go forward and understand that we're in a different political age now, where it's not about, because we're going to show a little bit later, Mark pulled up a picture, Jimmy Carter, one of the greatest presidents ever that never got no credit before and after, you know, all the great things that he did. And this guy here that's going in, you know, could definitely take a page out of Jimmy Carter's humanitarian book, because this dude is the opposite, the epitome of the opposite of what Jimmy Carter stood for, you know. And I just wanted to say that again. These are my opinions, you know. And I think that the fact that Mr. Carter, President Carter, lived to be 100 years old proves something, that, you know, when you are a righteous person, and he was a spiritual man, you know, you get a chance to go ahead and heal the world through other facets of your life, even if it ain't president, you know. And we'll get into some of the things that he did. But I wanted to shout out, you know, I picked my wardrobe today. So Funkadrill, Santiago, Mandrill, I'm rocking you today. You know, I'm rocking my Batman hat today. That was a gift from my daughters. That I always cherish this hat. I rarely bring it out, but I kind of feel like I got to be Batman this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm going to be Zach during the day, but y'all look out, because I'm going to be Batman at night. All right? So,
you see my shirt.
I know. We're going to get into that, man.
Yeah.
That's one of your news creations, correct?
That's the newest one, yeah.
Yo, man, and they can find you at Defunct Vinci Art, right?
Oh
On
yeah,
Facebook. Yeah,
yeah, they
yeah,
can get
yeah. I've been watching your stuff, man. You just like it's so amazing how you just constantly boom, boom. You, Curtis, y'all are just like constantly, Stozo, y'all are keeping that thing alive, man.
Oh yeah.
And it's mad cool to actually be a part of it and see it grow and watch you guys do your thing and continue to do this crazy, insane, amazing artwork. I wanted to first of all, let me drop some comments in. I want to just thank everybody for tuning in, and those of you, my peeps up in Seattle, how you doing over there? I love you guys, and appreciate you guys, man. But I wanted to say that with our first show of 2025, it's gonna be bittersweet because we have to get into that thing that happened down there as much as I don't want to. So what are your thoughts about that, New Orleans? Let's just get that out the way. It's going to be a thing, but let's just get that out the way.
Man, it was a sad case, man. When I saw that, and then on top of that, he's a veteran, man. I'm like, whoa, a veteran that had mental illness to the maximum. We don't know what the system had done to that guy to make him snap and blow out like that. His mind had a severe blowout. And for him to just switch up like that and go ISIS, that's serious, man. I mean, and they say he acted alone, but yet the other guy that did dirt too, they was from the same military post. Yeah, so my heart goes out to all the people that was affected by this, because it affected me and I wasn't even there. I feel for them people, man. That's just sad, dude.
Yeah. Mark, you back there? I want you to jump in on this one. I didn't find out until the next day what was going on with that, because obviously I was working New Year's Eve, and when I came home I was just tired, I just wanted to go to sleep. So I rarely watch the news anymore. I've been, I just get what my little bits and pieces of information as I can from certain aspects, the Midas touch, this and that on the internet. So I really, didn't know. Mark, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, George kind of touched on it. It definitely deals with a lot of important issues that are out there, whether it's the mental health. And I do know that there's been a lot of conversations around mental health, particularly out of our veterans community and all along those lines. So even the VA and a lot of other organizations aren't able to deal with the mental health aspects of what you go through. And I'm sure George can talk about this more than I can, but I do have friends in the military. When you've been kind of trained to do one thing and then you're not able to do it when you come into the world, here in the United States, and you're not in that military mindset and you've got to adapt and everything like that. And not everybody is able to make that transition. And unfortunately, our mental health institutions across the board are not doing a great job of addressing mental health just in general. So I think that that's something that is across the board, and it's not just with our veterans, it's with a lot of our community as well. But George, I don't know if you got thoughts around that, but I do have a lot of empathy because of having been involved with an advocacy group for veterans that was doing that road to the Apollo and everything like that. But I was just wondering your take on it, because I do worry about the veterans and some of the health concerns, not just mental health, but even physical health, because I know that even in Fayetteville, there were some chemicals that people were had into their system that caused all kinds of issues as well.
Yeah, the veterans community. I mean, when people are getting out the military, and they got these disabilities coming out, a lot of people don't get rated properly. They don't, and that's part of it right there. Some people feel that they should be at 100% and probably should be. Come out at 10%, 15%, and then gotta just keep battling the system to try to upgrade their status, and they won't give it to them. They keep getting denied. And that can have a mental, breakdown on a person that's, know that they should be at at least a high percentage, and help them live, because a lot of people are unhireable, because of their mental condition or their physical condition, and some people get put out because of their medical issues and don't get a medical discharge. They just slide them out the door so they don't have to pay them all that money.
Yeah.
They said this guy, he was having money problems. He was a real estate guy, didn't do well in that. Besides whatever mental breakdown he may have had, he had seemed to be, from what I was looking at, he had seemed to be trying to make it like the rest of us out here. But whatever it was that snapped him, that made him want to join ISIS, I think that's a whole nother kind of thing. Do you think he felt betrayed by his country because he had served his country, but then he might have felt, and again, these are just opinions of this show, y'all read the disclaimer at the top, that he felt like he might as well do something so radical? I'm still trying to wrap my mind around why ISIS even exists to begin with, and I kind of have some idea, but what do you think that caused him to join ISIS? What was that about?
It had to be something really hard to make him change up like that. I mean, that's all out treason, flat out. Something extreme happened to that guy in order for him to do something like that. You see, so I don't know what happened, but hey, something happened.
But George, along those same lines, I'm wondering, and kind of what you're asking, Zach, it's not anything new, because we do know that a lot of times we go back in history, and one of the things that I'm known for when I'm at Hayti as being one of their historians and everything is that a lot of times people were fighting for freedom and justice here, and then when they came back home, they were dealing with a lot of racism and a lot of classism and a lot of other things. And even though we're in the year 2025 and we're hoping that it's going to be a more positive year and everything, some of those things that were taking place in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, unfortunately, are still relevant today and everything. So I know that there's some people that are seeing us fight for freedom around the world and fighting for other people's democracies, but we've still got issues that we've got to deal with here. Because if it's okay with you, just to divert Zach and everything, one of the things that I was thinking about is I had to get out and about, had to go by the Hayti, found out that I didn't need to actually be there today and everything, but that meant going out in the cold. And I started thinking about those people that are out in the cold, because it's starting to get a little bit cold here now and everything, and they don't have the proper heat or the proper housing or the proper things like that. So definitely, as you were thinking about things to be empathetic about and to have some gratitude about, we definitely should have gratitude for those of us that have shelter and those of us that have heat, but we also need to have sympathy and maybe even find ways to help those that don't and everything. Because a lot of people are out there that are sitting out there in the cold and they're trying to figure out what they can do. I know in the past years, I've seen people literally huddling up under blankets and stuff on church porches. And I've always wondered, well, shouldn't the church open their doors? The church has got heat and everything like that. But definitely that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, and it's cool, and I get that, because that will drive a person over the edge. They said he was divorced. That was messing with him hard.
Oh yeah.
That trust me, I know from experience that to do it. This dude might have had several things, like you said, George. Who knows what he was exposed to in the military? That actually forced his hand to be now, just like the dude who shot the insurance guy, and see, people nowadays are not hesitating to just like, screw it. They're just going in it. They're going in it hard. And I don't know if that's a sign of the times, which, by the way, we added that to our set. All you Funketeer Napier Funk Army fans, we're doing that this year. I don't know if that's a sign of the times or the fact that there are just more people feeling like disinvolved and uninvolved and like separate from the norm, and nobody even knows what the norm is anymore because some people have took the norm and flipped it upside down and we know who they are. So I think people are like, you know what? It's normal for me to do this now. You know, because I remember being a kid in the 60s. I don't really remember. Every now and then, I remember the dude who was in Texas shooting people from the bell tower at the campus of the school, you know. But other than that, I don't really remember. Now, I might be misremembering, but I don't remember a lot of things like this happening where people would just be like, I'm just going to just take out a whole bunch of innocent people. You know, usually the target was always the target. But, you know, innocent people, like there was a dude, this is the only story that I watched from that. And he was already paralyzed in the wheelchair. And him and his wife go to Bourbon Street every year, this and that, celebrate whatever. And he got hit. And he survived. But in his mind, he's got to be like, well, damn, I'm already jacked. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, I'm already in the wheelchair. And now this dude is running me over. And New Orleans, shame on you. You didn't have the money in the budget to put those barricades up like you were supposed to. I don't want to hear it, but you got money from the Superdome. So shame on you for that. Shame on you. I was talking to Mark about this earlier. Too many things are being skimmed at the state level, and we got to stop that. There's no way you're going to have Bourbon Street and getting it ready for Fat Tuesday and Mardi Gras, and you're going to say you didn't have all year to work on those things to get this right. Come on. You got one of the most prestigious walk-in malls, you know, streetwise in the country. You know, you've been warned. The FBI told them this is a possibility. A dude could ride a car or a girl could ride a car through all of this and blow some stuff up. You were warned. And again, you didn't do it.
And they got Super Bowl coming. They got Super Bowl coming. Think about that.
Yeah.
Along with Mardi Gras.
Yeah. So they said they was trying to repair everything to get ready for that. But it's just crazy, man. My thoughts and our thoughts go out to the families and friends of the family that lost people. Seems like this is a broken record. I might as well put it on a loop. So let's shift gears. A shout out to my friend Rocky down there, man, who's a nurse. And I'm glad you didn't go to Bourbon Street, sweetie. I love you a lot. Thank you. I'm glad you didn't go down there, man. And Dumpster Funk and my friends Tony Hoyle and all them. I know y'all were performing somewhere, but I'm glad. Let's shift gears to Vegas. All right. Your thoughts on that, George?
Man, dude was still in the military. On leave. You know, they call these cats sleeper cells. Okay? And it's called that for a reason. Okay? They know they there. They just lying in wait. You know, this guy, he made a statement by taking a cyber truck, okay, and loading it up and doing what he did. Killed himself before he blew up the truck. Now, that was a message to Elon Musk, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Mark.
Yeah, I think it was a double message. I think it was definitely a message to Elon Musk because it was a cyber vehicle and all along those lines, which is something that he's been very much part of with Tesla and everything like that. But it was also near Trump Towers. So I don't think it was accidental in that sense. So I think it was a message to both of them. I think it was a message to both Trump and Elon Musk because I think that the where they chose to do it was not done accidental. It was done intentional and everything like that. So I think that there was definitely a message that was being sent in that sense and all along those lines. But yeah, I think that unfortunately we might be seeing more of those kind of attacks. And unfortunately, because I think a lot of people are being more brazen in their attitudes about what they're going to do and everything. So, I mean, radicalization, which is what they're saying it was with both of their cases, is not something out of the norm. So there might be, I can only imagine, and George, I don't know your thoughts about this, but if we use the military to do this deportation that they say they want to do and everything like that, as I recall, and like I said, I never served a day in the military, but I do have friends and family that have. There's a significant amount of Latin American folks that are in the military as well. So if we use the military or we get involved in that space, then I can see them wanting to do some attacks as well. So I think we have to be cautious in what we do, even in that regards, because it may lead to some things that we are not comfortable with in America. But that's just my thoughts. I don't know your thoughts, because I know that there's a significant Latin population that is in the military.
That's a double-edged blade.
Mm-hmm. That's my
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, because you hit it right on the head. Because some of them people are their relatives.
Mhm.
You know, they're not gonna want to do nothing to them. And when they catch somebody trying to do something to their own relative, they'll turn around and shoot them.
But
Yeah. Who knows? I just pray that we don't even go that route. I can understand, you want to send some people back that you might catch, criminals, this, that, and the third. I get all of that. I get we're overcrowded. I understand why, they want to look at this situation, but I don't agree with the method that they're going to try to do this.
You're right. Yeah,
There's got to be a
it
better
is.
way. I mean, I just can't see how we want to start another war within the United States, and we already got several right now that we're dealing with, and within this country, economics, the poverty, that's a war. You know what I'm saying? They say the war on drugs, that's a war. The war killing innocent black men walking down the street with a cell phone, that's a war. You know what I mean? The gangs amongst themselves got wars going on. Whatever gangs they are, the war on, education, that's a war, so it's like we can only, I just want to stay positive as best I can, but I feel like we're a country that ate too much at Thanksgiving. And that was bad. Yeah, we ate too much at Thanksgiving all these years. We've been eating. And we haven't, we got no more room on our belt. There's not another notch to go. That's why I think some of the upper echelon cats are getting ready to get up out of here and get up into space, which we're going to get into, because that was one of the top 10 things that happened that I'm going to get into in the second half of the show. But I just pray that for peace, love, and harmony, and mainly within the community. We just got to take care of that, because I know that people get into politics with good intentions. Some people, not everybody, but some people. So at the state level, we got to stop theft and corruption, because that's what is going to affect where we live at in each individual state. We'll never be able to stop the feds. The Trumpers of the world will come and go. But at the state level, what do you think we can do?
Man, I'm gonna tell you this. 20 years ago, who was talking about borders? Nobody. Okay, it wasn't even a real thing. Okay, now it's a border thing. It's the individual that bringing the border up and don't like it. Okay, and that's just an individual thing. Now, they see the money thing. We print our own money. Okay, I'm gonna tell you this: if everybody was on the same level playing field of having money and able to buy stuff and live well, a lot of that crime would just disappear.
Yeah.
In that same line and everything, it kind of comes down to what we were talking about before the show and everything, Zach, which is this notion of priorities and all along those lines. So we are sending money. I mean, remember back in the day when those of you that served in the military, like you, George, went in Iran and saw all that waste that was going on in that area with the golden toilets and some of the other things that he had in his area. In a lot of ways, we in the United States have people that are having their own versions of golden parachutes and all along those lines. So they might not be golden toilets, but they've got their own things that they are getting a lot of money for. And if whether it's the kind of weapons that are expensive that we don't need, I mean, some of them we need and are shipping off to other countries like Ukraine and to some degree Israel and places like that. That money could be used, and if I imagine, imagine if you only had, I'd say not even a tenth, but 100th or 1,000th of some of that money that we waste and everything. I'm thinking that you could have a very successful art studio. I know you have one already, George, but an even more successful art studio. And Zach could have as many festivals as he wanted of funk music and as many concerts as he wanted, including playing at the Super Bowl, if they would get rid of some of that waste of money and that they are wasting on and all along those lines. But they don't see that as a priority, so it's not a top priority. But I can think that a lot of the things that we dream of and everything like that, I mean, not for the current president, because they couldn't pay me to do his inauguration. But whenever the next Democrat came in, if I had a tenth of that, I could throw a lavish inauguration party and do a lavish event, since I am also an event planner as well. Of course, Zach would get the first call to be the band to play and all along those lines, of course. And of course, George would do all the art designs and the posters and everything like that. But I'm thinking that we could definitely do some great things with some of the money that we waste.
Yeah.
You want to hear something funny? When I was with Creations Music in New York, a corporate wedding band I played with for 30 years, we played the White House twice.
Okay.
I played at the White House twice. Yeah, it was crazy security too. I remember one of our guitar players didn't have his credentials and he couldn't do the gig.
Dang.
Get it? Yeah, this was during the Clinton administration.
Hey, Zach.
Now they wasn't there, but we did one of the inaugural, events that they had there.
But
then
Zach,
we did another one for something else.
But Zach, that's the thing. I'm going to tell you right now, because as I told you before, back in June, I think it was, of last year, 2024, I had the pleasure of going to one of those federal agencies. I don't think it was the EPA, but it was one of those agencies that was here, and it was through Haiti and everything. And even there, they had tight security. So yes, I can imagine what the security would be like at the White House. Only imagine what it was like going into those areas that are here in the.
Yeah, I couldn't bring a joint. I was so scared because normally I bring a joint or two to smoke, right? I was so scared. I dumped my book bag out. I washed it and everything. I didn't want to see in there because when the feds lock you up, ass puppy, you going for good. So I made sure. And I remember the guy, Rick Anthony's like, no, ain't nobody got no drugs, right?
Right.
Like,
They don't sniff you out.
No drugs. Not on this one.
Right.
But getting back to what you said, Mark, that's very true. Because something you said earlier, because people feel, I guess that's why people wanted to a change, a switch. Okay. Stimulus checks, all of these phony things. And I'm telling everybody, beware. Don't fall for a lot of this okie doke that's online. Because people are just trying to get your information.
Yeah.
You notice everybody and their mother is sending out a stimulus check now. Don't fall for none of that. Don't. I'm begging y'all, don't do it because it's total BS. It is not accurate at all. All right. So don't be don't get caught up into that thing, especially people that are senior citizens that are on disability, Social Security, and whatnot. They just want to get your information. So please just be mindful of that. So let's look at and I'm gonna put a cap on this Vegas thing. Did you have any other thoughts about that, George?
No, man. I mean, I feel sorry for those people too. The ones that were, affected by that. Yeah, hey, but the message is out there, man. I mean,
So do you think now the military will, how can I say this? The military will start to do better deep dives, or it's just going to be like, yo, whatever happens, happens?
Oh, yeah, they ain't going to do no deep dive, man. Because, look, there's gangs in the military, okay?
I heard.
They ain't never did nothing about that.
I heard. I couldn't believe it when I saw that.
Oh, that's a real thing, man. Real.
I heard. Yeah. I
Yeah.
heard.
Latin
So-
Kings and Bloods and everybody else are in the military. Hey, Zach, I gotta put out a warning to folks because like a lot of folks, you mentioned the elderly and what the elderly can get ambushed by, and all along those lines, there are a tremendous amount of folks that are out there that are abusing the elderly, and like a lot of people, the elderly are oftentimes looking for love and looking for relationships and everything like that. So be very cautious because they were already out there during the pandemic and before the pandemic, but the catfishers are out galore in this day and time and everything because they know that there are a lot of lonely-hearted men out there and lonely-hearted women, so they are trying to manipulate them in order to get them to part from
I'm
their
one
money.
of them.
Huh?
I said I'm one of them.
But
I have
there's a
cousin
lot of lonely-hearted guys out and women out there that are being abused and are having folks that are trying to like say, yeah, sending them pretty pictures and sending them all kinds of stuff, but then they want them to send them all kinds of money to come back as well. So definitely look out for the catfishers. They are out there galore, and I'm sure that even down there in Texas, George has probably run across some of those folks that are trying to do that, even though he's a very happily married man and everything like that. But I'm sure he still runs across them in his friend circles.
Hey man, I got a cousin that got hit so hard with that, and I was the one that saved him. Okay, I'm the one that got him.
What happened to him?
Man, this brother got a picture of a cute Puerto Rican chick, and he thought he was hooked up. Well, long story short, the girl that did the site rode with him from Arizona to here to meet up with this chick, and got to the hospital. He met me before he went to the hospital, and I told him where the hospital was. The girl had a total different direction on him for him, and granted, he was sending her money. Okay, so he gets to this hospital. The girl didn't want to get out the car. She wanted to charge her phone. He goes upstairs to go find this chick. Ain't nobody there by the name that he was given. He come down, car gone.
So they was in it together?
Oh, no, it was just one girl. It was just
he was with the girl.
He was actually with the girl that made the site, put a fake picture up. Okay, and I kept telling him, I said, dude, it's her. It's her. She's the one making the site, dude. I said, man, you need to drop her off at the nearest gas station. He didn't listen. Got his car took, and luckily he called me up 3 a.m. Man, it's all bad. It's all bad. I said, yeah, I know it's bad. Tell me about it. It's 3 a.m. It better be something. And he said, yeah, man, come get me at the hospital, man. Man, I'll tell you all about it. Man, and that was just the beginning. Okay. And he lucky he didn't follow that direction to the hospital that they had on paper. They would have dumped him out in the desert somewhere. He'd have been through. Yeah.
That's wild, man. That's wild. I hate to hear that. You know what's funny? Just the other day, and George, I'm gonna get to some of your artwork because I want you to show us some of your new stuff. But somebody tried to hack into my Facebook the other day from Winston-Salem, Mark.
From Winston-Salem, wow.
I got an alert, so obviously I changed my passwords. But if you out there in Winston-Salem and you tried to hack into my shit, fuck you. That's all I gotta say.
Right.
Because you ain't getting my shit. And I'm sick of these motherfuckers trying to do that. Excuse my French for cursing, but sometimes I just got to say it like that, my New York accent. So, George, tell us, what do you got cooking? Show us some of your new artwork, and then we're going to get into the top 10 things after we, see some of your stuff.
All right. Well, as you can see, I got this new shirt that I made.
Okay.
It's a big joint smoking little joints.
Yeah, okay. I see that.
Yeah, and on the back, I don't know if you can see, it says Blackout.
Blackout.
But 13 got a song called Blackout.
Okay.
And so that's how I came up with this. Whoops, I'm knocking my speaker over. But yeah, so that was the newest T-shirt project. Let me take you around.
Yeah, man. I love to see what you do, bro.
I don't know if you can see that on the wall.
Yeah,
Those are some
man.
huge ones
Yeah,
right
nice.
there. That one that says Funk 13 got that on a single.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's see what else is on the new side over here. Well,
And 13 is who? The Jew from Funkadelic, right?
from Parliament Funkadelic. Yeah. He's a band member. Just follow me real quick. And
One of George's grandkids, I'm assuming.
no, he's a good friend of Trezay.
Oh, okay. Right.
All right, so I'm working on that. And it's a pajama top. I call it the Pajamas.
Pajamas.
Yo, that's dope.
And that one belongs to Carlon.
Okay.
And I got one for George right over here.
Okay.
See? And let's see. Oh, here's a well, not so secret, but secret. I call that the P key. Okay.
Dope.
If you notice, the mothership is the front of the key.
Yeah.
Shaped like a guitar.
Yeah.
And it got PF for Parliament Funkadelic.
Yo,
The key to the mothership.
I like that, bro.
Yeah, it's real nice.
And then here's something that I'm still painting on. Excuse my mess. You know that fuss was us.
Hey, this is real live. Don't even worry about it.
All right. This is a big one that I'm working on. It's like 3 feet by 4 feet.
Wow.
That's nice.
That's
And
real.
it's going to be a 3-dimensional style drawing.
That's
So
nice.
it's in the early stages of it right now. And it's going to have lights and everything going through it. I'm going to put some final weave afro and make hair come out of here, and it's going to have the lights in it. You see? So,
Wow.
yeah, it's pretty big. And one of my other things that I normally do when I'm airbrushing,
Right.
like when I'm switching colors, I don't waste my ink or paint. I create stuff like this.
Oh, wow. I like that.
I call it a bonehead throne.
Okay.
Yeah, a bonehead Tyrone.
Bonehead Tyrone.
Yeah. So I don't waste my ink. I just spray it on here, make a design until I'm out of that, and then I change my my colors.
Right.
So
So thank you for taking us through your artistic endeavors. When you're creating, every artist is different, but besides Funkadelic, what are some of your other inspirations that allow or give you that insight to your third eye of incredible artwork?
wow, man, it's like when I go to sleep and I wake up, I take my dreams,
Right.
add it into the artwork.
Right.
You
Right.
see? So yeah, and I'm not even high.
I do the same with my music. I dream it and I'll get channeled by Prince or Gary Scheider or Hendrix, and then I'll be like, oh, I got a song. So, yo, man, that's what's up, man. Congratulations on that. You guys are watching Funk from the Front Seat. We're going to come back with the top 10 things that happen in the world. George the Funk Vinci obviously is here today with us, as well as Mr. Mark Lee. So y'all hang out, sit back, and check this out. We're going to run a few spots and give a few shout outs and come back with the things that we pulled up that are the top 10.
Hey, it's Chrissy Key Rollins here with Holistic Restoration, inviting you to check out Zach Robinson with Funk in the Front Seat. He drops new episodes every Saturday at noon on the East Coast time, and replays are posted for whenever you miss a live stream. You can find him on 9 on the Grind TV and also on YouTube, and get ready for the funk because he brings it every week along with hot topics, amazing guests, and great conversations. Again, that's Zach Robinson with Funk from the Front Seat on 9 on the Grind TV and YouTube. Go check him out.
Hey, this is Jen Vanderputten, writer of Code and Prose. You are watching Funk from the Front Seat with Zach Roberson. Tune in every Saturday at noon for excellent and important conversation.
Hey, this is Keith Jackson with P-Funk Radio, inviting you to check out my brother Zach Robinson with Funk from the Front Seat. Saturdays, 12 noon on the East Coast and 9 a.m. on the West Coast. It all happens on 9 on the Grind TV and also on YouTube. Great guest, great conversation each and every Saturday. That's Funk from the Front Seat with Zach Robinson on 9 on the Grind TV and YouTube. Check him out.
What's up, Royal Funk fans? This is Lisa Love, aka Alpha Unk Omega, coming to you from Love's Temple here in Southern California, inviting you to 9 on the Grind, Funk from the Front Seat with Zach Robinson. This is what I want you to do for me. Tune in every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Come join the meeting of minds. I guarantee soul's growth and high vibrations, not to mention the love. Keep it funky, y'all.
Hey fam, what's goody good? What's really good? My name is Jeff Roberson from the gospel group called Jeff Roberson and New Life. And I'm coming to you from the town that we had to name it twice. It's so nice. New York, New York. And I'm bringing you some news about my brother from another mother, Brother Zach, who's bringing you his hot new show called Funk from the Front Seat. Listen, he's bringing you funk from the vault, from the past, from the present, and into the future. He's got that music that makes the hair on the back of your neck rise up. He's bringing you funk all the way down to your toes. This is that funk that makes you really want to groove. Stay tuned. Don't touch that dial as he brings you funk from the front seat. Listen, let's go.
Yes, and we want to thank JTRP, P-Funk Radio, with Gabe, Larry, Funkster Jones, Robin Circle of P, Philly Phil down there. Get on the Funk Bus in Texas. Also, Bootsy Patty Collins and all the Club Funketeers around the world. HJ Entertainment, K&N Jams, Tony Cam and the Funk All-Stars, the Lafayette Funk Army, Oak City Music Collective, Afterglow, 92416, QNO Entertainment, Brooke Clagett, My Funk Angel, Patricia Dioria, Curtis Wilcox, and George the Funk Avinci, obviously with all the beautiful artwork back there that they do for us. Dr. Brookenstein, DJ Cocolino, DJ Elizabetta, and DJ Monica. We want to thank you for always spending our stuff, and that would be in Italy and Ireland and Switzerland, respectfully. And, of course, David Webb and the Funk Chronicles Hall of Fame and Exhibition Center. Thank you. We appreciate everything that you do and keeping the funk alive. And, of course, all the funky fans out there, we want to thank each and every one of you because you guys are what make this show worthwhile. That's why we continue to do it. We continue to grow our audience one funketeer at a time, and that's all we really care about. Again, the opinions expressed on this show are just our own. And I have to show this disclaimer because it's very, very important so I don't get sued, because we are of an entertainment value, and that's what we do on this show. So, Mark, you have that picture of President Carter, who's, I believe his procession or something is happening as we speak right now in Georgia.
Yeah, he's in, I believe it's D.C. Was where he was first going to be, showing their body and everything, and then the funeral is actually on the 9th and everything. So the funeral was actually...
No, but he was in Georgia just now.
He was in Georgia just now? Well, that might be
looking at it this morning.
And that might be taken up to D.C. because I know that...
Yeah, I think that's what they're doing. They're taking his body up to D.C. So, yeah. So he was one of, I remember, I don't know, I must have been graduating high school, and everybody's like, oh, the peanut farmer is going to be the president. And I was like, peanut farmer? And they was like, yeah, this guy named Jimmy Carter. And, everybody was making fun of him, this, that, and the third. But people didn't realize, man, he was like a nuclear scientist. This dude was the smartest president, that had came along to date, at that time, He was the first to really understand the crisis in the Middle East. He was the first to put solar panels on the White House roof. Reagan came along and then ripped them off. And then sure enough, who was right? Jimmy Carter. You know what I mean? Humanitarian, Habitat for Humanity, everything that he did for the world when it came to, understanding how to maintain peace with our allies. And also, he seen UFOs, which I personally believe in. So I was down with Jimmy Carter from the get, because obviously he knows a little bit more than what people want to let on to be. Mark, you got that picture?
I'm going to bring it up very shortly and everything. I thought I had it up the first time that you talked and everything. But yeah, Jimmy was amazing, like you said earlier, and all on those lines. It was definitely a humanitarian doing all of that work with Habitat for Humanities and all along those lines, and definitely was a person that was about peace and trying to achieve peace. As a matter of fact, I want to say he was involved in that whole, we talk about the Middle East, and he was involved in the kind of peace between Israel and Egypt and everything. So even though it's something that is going on now where we're having that conflict brawl up again, he was definitely one that was trying to work on some peace initiatives, and was one that did a lot of work through Camp David, and even had some kind of agreements with the Russian leadership of the time and everything. So yeah, he was a truly amazing president. I wasn't that familiar with his stuff around the UFOs and everything, but definitely a humanitarian. There was one that was involved in a lot of our involvement in the African continent as well, because he was definitely involved in trying to make sure that we were getting more kind of connection to the motherland as well. So he was definitely involved in that.
He was the first president to actually move the vice president in Camp David in the where he could be part of the staff, Walter Mondale. He was the first president to actively get his vice president involved and allow his vice president to affect policy. He was the first one. And one of the copycats that followed him was when, Dick Cheney was doing stuff with the Bush and all this, and Reagan's vice president, George Bush had more influence. All of that was because of Jimmy Carter. Because before that, vice presidents, they didn't really have no say-so. They weren't allowed to affect policy. They weren't allowed to really say it, or have any real input. George, your thoughts?
Hey, he was an awesome president, the longest living president on record. Guinness Book. Okay. Yeah. I mean, man, triple digits. Okay. What president could say that?
Triple digits, man. And I hope this guy, because this guy is actually trying to mess with the Panama Canal and all that. This is something that Jimmy Carter actually started, So, of course, this guy's going to come in and undo everything, because the world needs to be in chaos, and this is the right dude to start it, and I'll just leave it at that. But more people, more presidents should be like this guy and take the example from Jimmy Carter. And Mr. Carter, we salute you. Thank you so much. You know what I'm saying? For your service, for your emotion about humanity, for your caring of this country, for how you treated people and how you wanted people to treat each other. And we really, really, really appreciate you and your service. And, you rest in peace and fly home and say hello to my dad while you up there, because he's from Georgia too. So, Mark, any last thoughts on Mr. Carter?
Yeah, I was just going to add one of the things.
He's gone, and I'd vote.
What'd you say?
Go ahead, George.
I said he's gone, and I'd still vote for him.
Me too.
Yeah, I would still vote for him as well. He's gone, and no doubt about it. But the thing I was going to say,
get him on the ballot?
But Zach, the one thing that I was going to add is that the one thing that I really admired about Jimmy Carter was his connection. I mean, there were others like the Kennedys and everything else, but he had a deep connection to his family, because like I said, I think he's going to be buried next to his beloved wife, and they were married for many years, Rosalind Carter, and everything like that. And even his own daughter, we literally saw her grow up in the White House because Amy was a kid when Jimmy Carter was president and everything like that. So Amy Carter, and I forget what her married name is now and everything, but definitely he had some strong family values, even so much so that even when some of his family members were acting up, he still kind of supported them and everything, because we do know the history around Billy Carter and everything like that, but he was there to not, sometimes when people are in our family that are troubled, we sometimes want to throw them aside, but he didn't throw Billy Carter aside. He actually tried to work with his brother, and Billy had some things that he was going through in his life and everything. So he was one of those people that was, like you mentioned about the Sunday school, he was about the values that sometimes come out of Christianity and out of the Bible and everything like that.
Do you know his Sunday school music is up for a Grammy?
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's up for a Grammy. Yep.
Cool.
So let's get into the top 10 things of 2024. Okay, the top 10 things of 2024. The number 10, and actually I'll tell you where it comes from, where I pulled it up. The Council on Foreign Relations. I did some research last night from an article called The Water's Edge, the most significant world events in 2024. You are not alone if 2024 has left you exhausted, which we are all exhausted. It has been a trying year on the world stage as the forces of disarray grew stronger. Geopolitical competition increased while ongoing wars grind on. The one brief respite from a year with more steps backwards than forwards came with the 2024 Summer Olympics, and Paralympics in Paris, the world's most beautiful city. The French showed that they take a backseat to no one when it came to spectacle and pageantry, and the athletes showed what dedication and sportsmanship and their very best can accomplish. May they be an inspiration for everyone in 2025. Agreed. But before we jump into the new year, here are the top 10. Okay, number 10, the space race is alive and well. What do y'all think about that?
I mean, you kind of alluded to it earlier.
Keep it short.
Yeah, well, you alluded to it earlier. A lot of times the space race is going on. Unfortunately, the space race is being controlled by a lot of folks with money and wealth. So it is unfortunately a space race of the Elon Musk versus those others that can afford to go up into space and everything like that. So right now it's a space race among the elite.
George.
I want to know who put a racetrack in space. Like, who does that? Where's the finish line? Who? Our answer don't come out and race?
Yo, that is funny. That is funny. You know what's happening though? Besides the real UFOs, America's going to start a war with the fake UFOs just so they can get more money out of people. You mark my words. You're going to hear, oh, we're being under attack. Oh, we got to have money for this. Oh, we got to have money for this. Because real UFOs, they ain't really trying to hurt us. But the fake ones that are ours, we need another enemy. And we can't have one no more on this planet because we done jacked up everything. So what is the next enemy? The next enemy is going to be space. So y'all be wary of that. Highlights in space exploration include Japan landed a smart lander for investigating the moon. China sent a mission that brought back soil samples from the far side of the moon. NASA's rover discovered microbiology life on Mars, and a joint EU-Japan mission photographed the South Pole of Mercury. So I guess, we're getting there and we're on our way. Number 9, the world braces for China shock. China rose from economic backwater to global power in the early 2000s on the backs of exports. What do you all think about China now?
Hey, two words for China: BRICS, which is that alliance that China is very much part of, which is Brazil, Russia, India, and China, and that's definitely having some impact on our world politics and all along those lines. So that's one of the things that they are very much involved with and all in that space. So, and then the internet and all along those lines, because they're definitely involved in internet and AI and all in that kind of way. So China
we'll
is
get
a
to AI
major
in a
player.
minute. We'll get to that in a minute. That's on the list. George.
China is way more technically advanced than we are, by far. We're still using stuff that they have, that they make up and put it in our cars, our everyday computers, phones, and everything. And then you got Trump wanting to slam them every chance he get when you don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Yeah. It's funny because we lost 1 million manufacturing jobs. It says to China for the labor part of it. Economics called it the China shock and believed it was one-off event. China's currency appreciated its labor cost, and its domestic Chinese consumer demand grew. Which now this export advantage, which for us wasn't really a good thing. So
before you get to number 8, Zach, and everything, that's the other thing I was going to mention about China. One of the conversations that number 45/47 had brought up was this whole notion of tariffs, and China had a perfect counter answer to them, which was basically like, you want to throw some tariffs on us? We're going to throw some tariffs on Raytheon, GE, and your companies and everything like that. So they basically said, yeah, you want to throw some tariffs on us? We got something for you. We'll kind of like stop your companies from coming to us and everything. And they got billions of people over there in their side of the world. So it looks like China is going like, yeah, mess with us if you want to.
They can shut us down.
Yeah, because we owe them billions of dollars, trillions.
Yeah.
They own our mortgages. They own everything. I suggest to everybody, look at the very, very last 8 pages of your mortgage. It's written in Chinese. I guarantee you. Guarantee you. Because I did the research. And when we had our house, the mortgage was owned by China, which was Wachovia. You know what I'm saying? So I think they're called Wells Fargo now. But Number 8, the Sudanese civil war rages on. The civil war that began in Sudan in April 2023 continued unabated in 2024. They're still fighting. Armed forces are there, led by their generals and their military. And I don't really know. I never studied the Middle East as far as understanding everything that's going on there. But I know the United States is once again split down the middle. The genocide thing that's happening, with the war that's happening, with who we should be with and who we should not be with. I never wanted to get into that because I really concerned myself with domestic issues, although I am a humanitarian and I care about what happens in the world. Your thoughts real quick, George.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's all based on money, That's basically flat out. It's sad, I mean, you're looking at people dying and stuff, over this, and it needs to stop. There shouldn't be no wars at all if everybody was, like I said, was on a level playing field of, having wealth.
It's based on money, but it's also based, I hate to say it, on the color of the skin, because the Sudan is in Africa. Sudan is an African nation, and Sudan is literally starving to death and everything like that. And and this is for both of you and everything, because I know that both of you are like myself. You watch the news, you flip on your TV regularly. Actually, my TV is not on right now, but it'll be on later because I'll be watching some of the sports activities and everything like that. But usually it might be on. And how often have you turned on the news and even heard any mention of the famine that is going on in Sudan? Because it is actually part of what that war is the famine that it is causing. So tons of folks, we're spending all this time thinking about Israel and thinking about Ukraine, and both of those need to be thought about. But let's not forget our brothers over there in Sudan, and it's not just Sudan, it's also Eritrea and Ethiopia and the other African countries that have been fighting each other. As a matter of fact, I think one of those countries just recently got out of their imperial thumb footprint and their imperial foot being on them and everything. And that was one of the African countries that just recently left the French control. I can't remember the name of the country off the top of my head, but I know it's one of those that's in that area. So yeah, it's a lot of times, unfortunately, our media ignores the troubles of the folks that are black and brown.
Well, that's always been the case. So we ain't surprised at that. Okay, number 7. Here you go, Mark. Developments in artificial intelligence, AI, continue to astound and concern. An AI revolution is turning science fiction into science fact. The list of recent AI advancements is impressive, as are their practical applications. AI is being used to analyze genetic conditions, improve healthcare, create manufacturing inefficiencies, and more. The Nobel Prize Committee recognized AI's importance when it awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics to John Hopperfield and Gregory Hinton for foundational discoveries and inventions that enable machines learning with artificial neural networks, and half of the Nobel Prizes in chemistry. Okay, Mark.
Well, two things, and George kind of alluded to it earlier and everything. One of the biggest companies in AI is actually a company that I think is associated with one of the Asian countries. It might be Japan or China, called NVIDIA. And NVIDIA is a leading stock in the U.S. market and everything, and continues to be a leading stock because it's literally the chip that controls AI and all along those lines. But my concern around AI, and George, you may have this same concern and everything, is I can't tell you how many people I have talked to that have been writing books, that have been writing songs, that have been writing various other creative aspects.
And doing artwork.
And I'm going to say teachers and even artists, and they are pretty much having the entirety of their work being done by AI and everything like that. So I think AI can be a great tool and everything, but yes, there are a lot of people that are letting it pretty much have control over the creative process, and that does concern me, because then I wonder how much of the human creativity will actually be there if we let AI do all of the work and everything like that. I mean, you've got people that are literally school kids that are literally writing their entire papers and getting some good grades off of them, A+, and it's literally off of AI.
Yeah.
George, your thoughts on that?
Man, I'll tell you what, everybody talk about the pros, but never really talk about the cons of this thing, man. The cons, you know, the government is using that as another tool to spy on folks. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's AI is big sister. Okay. Now you got Big Brother, the cameras. Now you got AI, big sister. Okay. Yep. And it's a big snitching tool. Okay. Yeah. Then they using that to the maximum, man. I mean, it's and China, they making these AI robots. It's supposed to be, having feelings and all that stuff. I'm like, wow, they're doing the most out there, man, and over here too with it. And we're taking it and running with it, and it's only because the government see it as a tool to use against anybody they want.
Yeah.
See?
You want to hear something funny that most people don't realize? Facebook was originally invented just for that. Like, if you look at the history of Facebook, right?
Yeah.
There was one before Facebook, and it would begin with a Z or an N. Before, and it was MySpace, but it was one before MySpace. It was one before MySpace. But I had read somewhere it was something with a Z. I forgot, but it was before MySpace. But it was originally set up so they could tap into what people were doing, because they wanted to see if there were military spies, and how they listen on the phone. And they had got so advanced with the phone technology, somebody said, well, why don't we just put something in everybody's house so they can just tell us what they're doing? Because here's the kicker. What's the first thing you see on Facebook? What's on your mind?
Right. That's the first. Yeah. What's on your mind and everything like
What's
that.
on your mind? And
Yeah.
the dude said they want to make sure everybody's mind is synced up or they know what's on your mind. So why would people put something out to ask you what's on your mind? And then if you don't know what's on your mind, they give you choices.
Yeah, they give you
You're
choices.
allowed to do photos, and they say, well, are you thinking about this? Or are you thinking about that? So Facebook, think about it, right? Think about it. They if you ain't got a mind and you can't think at the moment, they will give you a mind.
They'll give you a
So-
mind, but not only that, but think about this. I mean, I don't know about your house. I got one, even though I don't think I ever plugged it up, and so it's not really active. But how many houses do you know that got Alexa or Siri or anything else like that? So they're pretty much reading what you're saying, and sometimes they won't
Absolutely not. I don't have it, and nor will I ever get it.
Hey, check this out. Even your TVs, the remote nowadays have these microphones in them that'll listen to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, people used to think I was crazy. A long time ago, right? This is back in the 70s, man. No, actually, we got our first cable box. It was like 1976. Because I remember watching, 1976, 77. Because I remember watching Julius Irving. And I was like, wow, he's in Philly and I could watch him in New York, right? I told people back then, this was just my paranoid thinking. I said, so the antenna ain't good enough no more. I said, so now they're going to put a box. And I used to say, listen, they listening right now. People used to laugh at me, think I was crazy, said I was paranoid. I said, no, man, I'm telling you, I was paranoid. I would never walk around in front of the cable box without clothes. I said, they're watching me, bro. I felt that way, bro.
That
and here we
on
are.
TV.
I wasn't crazy.
Now they were watching you, and the only thing I could see because I looked it up was Zach.
George was going to say something. Go ahead, George.
Oh, I said that was that on TV.
Mm-hmm.
That thing box called On. It was on
Yes.
TV, and then another one called Select.
Yep, I remember Select. I definitely remember Select. The only thing I see was a Z because I looked it up. It was Zuckerberg because originally the original story around Facebook was it was a chance for his Harvard classmates to talk to each other and everything like that. But the other ones that were predecessors were Classmates, Bolt.com. I'm trying to think of the one you were talking about. 6 Degrees, Friends Reunited, Habbo. Maybe that's the one you think about. Friendsters, which is the big one that used to be. That was back in 2002, and I do remember having a Friendsters account. LinkedIn, MySpace, which you said earlier, Second Life, and High Five and Orchid. So either High Five or Orchid or Dig might have been the ones that you were thinking about. They were the predecessors because that's the 12 predecessors they listed of Facebook. But I do remember.
Email alone was being used.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's weird because again, here we are, man. Big brother, George Orwell.
Mm-hmm.
We had to read that book. It was a mandatory read in everybody's high school, right? He said, and this was 74, 75. He said in 1988, Big Brother's watching.
Yep.
He said that a long time ago. All right, let's go to number 6. Russia takes the offensive in Ukraine. Mark, I'm going to let you get with this one.
Yeah, they took the offensive. They're still taking the offensive. They are going back and forth. We have given a lot of military aid and equipment in that sense. There are some people, including some folks, that are thinking that they might start sending in some bodies over there as well. And I hope not, because right now Russia has got the North Koreans fighting on their side. And I do know that there's some people that are thinking that the West needs to help Ukraine by supplying some bodies and everything. But to me, this is one of those great tragedies of the world because one country wants to take control over a country that used to be part of its orbit and all along those lines. And we have seen hundreds of thousands of, in my mind, needless deaths and all along those lines. Because definitely you've got a person that has got some serious ego. And apparently the person coming in, number 45/47, has got some ego too. So maybe they'll be friends again. But Putin has got to be one of the most egotistical and evil people out there in the world. But that's just my personal opinion and all along those lines. But definitely he's got some serious things going on in his mind and everything. Apparently, Zach, he's also somewhat of a player because I understand that he's got some women on his side in addition to his own wife and everything like that. But yes, they've got to find some way to stop them. But George, what's your take? You were in the military, and I know that Putin was never a friend of the U.S. military.
No, he wasn't. But check this out. Watch this. I'm a predict the future a little bit.
Go ahead.
I think 47 is going to immediately stop the monies and stuff going to Ukraine and going to give it to Putin. Watch.
Mm-hmm. I can see
Wow. That's deep. That makes sense.
That's what's going to happen. Watch.
That makes sense, man. You know, because you know, this dude been down with Putin anyway. You know, so wow, that's crazy, man. I would hate to see that happen, but I would not be surprised.
Yep, I'm not gonna be surprised either. You know,
I would not be surprised, man.
Yeah,
that's crazy, man. I hate to see things like that, because really, I don't know much about Ukraine. I don't know the war. I don't understand everything that's happening or whatever, right? But I just know that war is bad. So no matter what, you know, if you win it, you do want to try to win. You know, if that's the objective. But at the same time, where does it end? You know, where does it end?
Hey, I tell you this, man. Nobody wins in war. You don't believe me? Ask the ones that are dead.
Yeah. I can only imagine. Like I said, I missed Vietnam, you know. So that would have been mine. But you know, I'm just glad I never had to deal with it, because you know, I don't think I have the makeup for it. Not that I wouldn't be fighting for my country. I would love that part, but I just, you know, I was just not disciplined enough to even listen to anybody. So I definitely wasn't going to listen to somebody trying to wake me up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You know, it's funny, right? Because my recruiter, my father wanted me to join the Army, and I tell you this story real quick, right? And he said, yeah, I went out of high school and Vietnam was over. There was no draft, but they were trying to enlist people. A lot of my friends were going in. And I was like, yeah, okay, I can go in and be a drummer. They said, yeah, you can play in the Army military band, this and that, and the third, right? So I was like, bet. So he looked up. He was like talking to me like this. And then he looked up, because you know how they do, Jordan. He looked up at me. He said, but that afro is going to have to go. I told my father, let's go. I said, nah, man. I said, not cutting this, baby. I said, I'll be happy playing drums for a band. I said, I'm not. And the guy said, so you wouldn't cut your afro to fight for the military, for your country? I was like, nope, I'm not doing it. And it wasn't the fact that my afro was important. It was the fact that I was like, I ain't even in there yet, and you telling me I got to switch stuff up. You know, like that Prince song said, I really got to cut my hair now. I ain't doing that.
Yeah, do that right.
Only because there was no war, so I didn't understand why I would have to, you know, get all like military. You know what I'm saying? But I was a young kid, so I didn't really know.
Zach,
number 5, incumbent political parties take it on the chin. All right, so incumbent political parties take it on the chin. Incumbents facing the voters in 2025 must be uneasy. 2024 began as a mother of all election years. Some 80 countries representing 4 billion people held either national, state, or local elections. First time that ever happened. 2024 ended as the year of the challenger. Voters around the globe punished politicians in power. Long dominating parties in India, Japan, South Africa, and elsewhere went into their elections hoping to strengthen their hold on power. They instead lost seats and found themselves in coalition governments in the United Kingdom and in the United States. Voters sent the incumbent parties packing out. So what do you think about that, Mr. Political Man Mark?
Yeah, I'll take that one and everything, because it actually plays into what I was going to talk about before, which is that
keep it short.
I'm going to keep it as short as I can. A lot of times politicians are trying to keep the status quo going, which is I know something you're not a big fan of and everything along those lines. And even come back to the military, a lot of times they have got people that are fighting for things that they don't necessarily believe in and all along those lines. So I think that the people, not just of America, but the people of the world have gotten frustrated by politicians in general. So since they're frustrated by politicians, they're like, maybe this new group of politicians will do better in terms of making us have a better economy or a better reason for us doing the fighting that we're doing. Because a number of people are involved in military conflicts, whether it's direct involvement or whether it's kind of like backdoor involvement, because sometimes the involvement can be financial involvement by supporting certain people as well and everything. So I think a lot of people are frustrated by the powers that be, and that's across the board. It doesn't matter whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, or whatever. They're just frustrated by the powers that be and think that the alternative has got to be better than the current. So that's why a lot of people are going to the other side. And sometimes the other side is not in your best interest, because I know a lot of people in the European side that are supporting the far right because they feel that the far left has gone too far to the left and everything. But the far right would be like almost supporting like a Nazi style government and everything, but they're hoping that they will do better for them. I don't think that that's going to happen, but that's what they're hoping for and everything, because they're just frustrated by the nature of politics.
George.
Well, I think, based on what Mark said, I mean, hey, all votes are paid and bought by who knows. You see, so that's where the votes go, where the money's at. That's what I say. Yeah. Oh, hey, I got out of the subject a little bit. I got a funk announcement to make.
Go ahead.
Okay. Around the end of July, date to be announced, there's going to be a huge P-Funk show underneath the mothership out here in San Antonio. Pro Trailer starring the Groove Allegiance, Garrett Scheider and his band. And
cool.
With a few funk surprises to come. And it's going to be called the Mothership Festival.
Okay.
So it's going to be the first annual show. It's going to be happening every year. And then also in between that, the year, there will be other bands that will get the chance to perform underneath the mothership. There's going to be a whole permanent stage built under that mothership.
That's what's up.
It's in the works right now. And we're getting all the particulars hashed out. Hector Garcia, of course, is DJ Me. He's the one that's putting this all together with the help of Garrett, myself, and April. And it's going down, dude. So be ready.
Any way I can support it, I will. And we'd love to come down there and perform, just so y'all know. If we get the logistics work out, I bring the crew down. I'll get with Tony and we'll get some all-stars together and we'll be down there.
Yes, hey, you guys definitely came up in the conversation. The first person, a band that's getting to perform there is actually Garrett Scheider, because P-Funk, and his dad being Star Child, so we're trying to bring that all back to life. And any funk band that want to jump in can actually jump in. That's not going to be the only time once a year. It's going to be other things happening, but the mothership funk festival is going to happen once a year, that particular thing.
I'm liking that, because we need more of these things. Hold on one second, Mark. We need more of these things around the country.
Yes.
It can't just be the Funketeers ball all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what
in different states. Hold on, Mark. In different states, if we set these things up, that'll help keep the funk alive. Go ahead, Mark.
No, I just had a question for you because, like I said, I know that you and George are much more into the actual physical sound of the funk music than, unfortunately, I am, even though I've learned a lot in these 5 years from you and everything. But I do think that, if I remember correctly, wasn't there a band that was a funk band that had the title of Hot Chocolate and everything like that? And if I'm correctly, in July, later on this month, there's going to be a s'mores and hot chocolate festival here in Durham. And I'm like, how are you going to have a hot chocolate festival and not have any funk music? Because they're looking at their lineup and there's no music at all. So I'm like, how are you going to have a festival?
I don't know if hot chocolate was funk as much as pop, but I remember the name.
Okay.
Oh, they were. They were
funk.
Oh, funky. Okay.
Really? What was their hit?
I got my mind made up.
Oh, them guys.
Yeah.
Yes. Those are my dogs, man.
That's what I thought. But how are you going to have a festival named the S'mores and Hot Chocolate Festival and not have any funk music?
They made that song?
Yep. And you are
Get
the
it?
one. You are the one. You are the one.
Okay. Because I remember I got my mind made up. You can get it. Come on and get it, girl. Ain't it time? Tonight is fine.
Yeah.
Push it, girl, baby. Yeah, that should be my cut.
They wrote that, and man, they are funky, man. Chocolate milk. That especially that you are the one, baby.
Right. Okay.
You are the one, you are the one, you are the one. Oh, they
okay.
They
See, I'm getting re-educated on the funk. Forgive me because I'm still having side effects from chemo radiation, so my lips are literally on fire right now, which is crazy. But that's just something I got to deal with. Upheaval number 3. We only got 3 to go, y'all. Upheaval in the Middle East. The events unleashed by Hamas October 2023 attack on Israel reverberated across the Middle East in 2024. Israel continued its war in Gaza. The death toll now exceeds 45,000, and northern Gaza is on the verge of famine. Israel notched numerous tactical victories, including the killing of Hamas leader and October 7th mastermind, Yahya Sinwar. But its strategic objective, defeating Hamas, remained elusive. In April, Israel bombed what Iran said was its consulate in Damascus, which led to an unprecedented Iranian missile and drone attack on Israel. Mark, keep it short because I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, I got you. I got to get ready to wrap up too anyway. But I got a funny feeling that this war is continuing to expand and will continue to expand. And even though I have family members that are of family. My dad's other half is Jewish, and I definitely have some Jewish friends and everything. I am not a big fan of the current Israeli leadership and everything like that, and all along those lines, because there can be some very right-wing kind of politics, kind of Trump-type politics out of the Middle East, and that is what I consider Netanyahu. So definitely the leader of Israel is very much of a reactionary kind of politician and all along those lines. So I'm not a big fan of him and all in that space. So I think that they are trying to continue the war going, and they are definitely doing some unhumanitarian things in the way that they are attacking hospitals and killing a lot of youth and things along those lines. So definitely I'm a big supporter of the two-state solution. Some people say that that's an impossibility, but I believe that saying something is an impossibility only makes it more of an impossibility. So I think that we need to find a way to get a Palestinian state and to have a free Palestinian state in addition to having Israel have its own sovereignty. And I don't think that just because they say from the river to the sea means that they cannot exist and that one of them has to not be existent. But they've been fighting forever, and they seem like they'll be continuing this war, unfortunately, for the rest of this year. But hopefully that will, some sort of truce will take place. But maybe George has got some thoughts on that since he's of a military background.
Well, I'm in the words of Bootsy, let's funk, not fight. You know? Hey, and like Rodney King said, can we all just get along?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say for that, man.
I agree with you. Number 2, I feel like David Letterman. The rise of access of autocracies. The return of geopolitical competition is evident in the growing cooperation between China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea. To my people in Korea, annyeonghaseyo. Their collaboration has been called the axis of autocracies, the axis of upheaval, and the quartet of chaos. Now they actually got these fancy names for all of these people that want to be, political leaders of their country and not have anybody else have a say. And this dude is trying to be that. We must stop him over here, because all of those countries that they just named don't really have their people's best interests at heart. We don't either. We just been calling it something else. But now if it becomes official and this dude go ahead and get with those dudes, we in the world of hurt. So, George, I'm going to start with your thoughts on this one.
Man, it's legalized crime.
Yeah, it is.
That's all it is, you know. And dictatorships. It's a dictator club.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's
yes.
what it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's all autocrats are dictators, and you actually alluded to it earlier. We complain about the Russians having an oligarchy and everything like that, which means that they've got their folks that are their rulers, their leaders, and kind of their version of the mafia and everything like that. But guess what? If you want to look at Trump and Elon Musk, don't we have our own version now and everything, and even RFK and all in that space? So basically, it's kind of like, you know, the what's the old expression? The pot calling the skillet black and everything like that. So definitely, it's like we can't talk about too much if we are guilty of doing the same thing. You know, what's that other old saying? People that are throwing from glass houses better be careful, because when the rock coming back, if you in a glass house, it's gonna get shattered. So you got to be careful from a glass house.
Who's our real vice president? I think his last name starts with an E.
Real vice president, or our real vice president, or our real president? Because I think his name starts with an E.
Yeah, it begins with an E. His first name starts with an E.
I wouldn't even say vice president. I'd say president, even though the vice president has done a disappearing act, because I don't even know if anybody knows where Vance is at, because I haven't seen anything from him. He's done a disappearing act.
Yeah.
Who? Vance?
Vance has done a disappearing act. Have you seen him out in the news lately?
Yeah, you don't see him.
He ain't allowed. But don't sleep on this dude. Just because you don't see him, don't mean he ain't stirring up trouble.
Oh, that's all he can do.
Don't sleep on this dude, bro, because he's evil incorporated. You know?
He driving a cyber truck too.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
All right. Number one, Donald Trump wins the U.S. presidential election. Trump's defeat of Democrat Kamala Harris in 2024 will go down as the greatest political comeback in U.S. history. Lie. In the wake of the January 6th Capitol Hill riot, even senior members of the Republican Party said he was morally responsible for. True. Trump's political obituary seemed written. His comeback owed to his cheating scam seemed written. You know, so I ain't gonna get all into this dude because I don't like to speak his name. But real quick, Mark, your thoughts, and then George, your thoughts. Then we're gonna get out of here, and then just pray for peace around the world and pray for our brothers and sisters all around the United States and around the world, especially New Orleans and Vegas. So go ahead, Mark, get us out quickly.
Yeah, I'll get us out real quickly because I don't like to say his name that much either and everything. But I am still shocked at the people that voted against their own interests, because there are a number of women that voted against their own interests, even though they know that he is going to definitely vote and do things that will harm and hurt them and everything like that. Just like I'm real shocked at the Latin population that voted for him as well, because they think that they're going to get some sort of benefit or something from him, even though he's probably going to cause more chaos than everything else. And unfortunately, I hate to say it, but I'm also shocked by the 20%, which is the highest amount that the Republicans have had in a while, of our fellow brothers that have voted for him also, because they bought this whole notion that he gave them a check, even though just because he had his name on the check, because he was smart enough and had enough of an ego to write his name on the check, when a lot of other presidents didn't necessarily do that and everything like that. So I think a lot of people have been buying into some nonsense, and we're going to have some upheaval. But as I told you at the beginning of the show, one of the things that I heard a lot of people saying in general is that they feel that 2025 is going to be a year of positive energy and positive developments, because a lot of people are not going to allow his nonsense and his craziness and that crazy White House that he is putting together to impact them, because we can do things on the local, the state, and other levels to keep ourselves in a semblance of sanity and all along those lines. So that's what I think a lot of people are hoping for, is that this notion of positive energy will continue, even though we've got this crazy man in the White House.
But I'm going to let George go for a second. But you left something out. They didn't only do it for the whole check, because that was years ago.
Right.
But they did it because they didn't want to vote for a black woman. So how can a black man not want to vote for a black woman? That boggles my mind, and I'll never be able to figure that out. But I guess that's just the way it is. Go ahead, George.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, you hit it right on the head there, Zach. They didn't want to vote for a black woman because there are way more women in the United States than there are men. And by him being a total male chauvinist, you know, all the women on earth should have voted for Kamala. You know, you look at it. I mean, that's how you know the man had 4 years to plan on how to win. Okay, you know, cheating, and he cheated. You know, so you know it's gonna come out in the wash. But hey, he already said he's gonna set it up to where we don't have a vote. We'll never have to vote again. Remember, he said that, and I strongly believe that he's trying to make himself be a king.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's trying to do. He skipped president. He wanted to be the king. Okay, and that's what he's gonna try to do. And if we let him, if everybody let him do it, hey, there ain't nothing stopping him. You know.
Yeah.
Not Prince
Mark.
Barron. I was going to say not Prince Barron, because we're going to have Prince Barron out there and everything like that, because that means that he would be the prince. But I did hear somebody recently say that they thought that what you just said, that it could be another attempt of him trying to get an extra term, even though they're only supposed to have 2 terms, followed by 2 terms of Vance. And like both of you, I do not have a lot of respect, and I'm actually somewhat scared of Vance because he's got some crazy ideas of his own, and then followed by another 2 terms of Barron, because by that time Barron would be old enough and everything like that. So this whole notion of there being like this lineage of presidency, which would almost be like a monarchy, is scary and everything. Last time I checked, because we're getting ready to come up on the next year, the 250th anniversary of the country and everything. And isn't that what we fought against with the English, or isn't that what America, I should say, fought against with England, was not wanting to be a monarchy, and we're going to slip back into one? That doesn't make any sense to me.
You know what don't make any sense to me? That since 1776,
1776, right?
Other than the first real black president, which I think was back in like the early 1800s, there was a black president. This guy.
It was.
Right? People don't know that. So study up on your history. There was.
Yeah.
But there has only really been Barack since then. So how you going to have like 300 years, you know, right? 70s, 80s, 90s, right? It's 300 years. Ain't that? Does that make sense?
The next year will be 250 years.
Next year will be 250 years. Right, because it's every 4 years with the president. Right. So 250 years. You mean to tell me America, not one Afro-American, Native American, woman, you know, Latino, you know, we can't, and we won't allow. And then people vote against their own interests constantly. I had a lot of brothers. I was trying to tell them, listen, if you don't vote, it's a vote for this dude. And if you don't vote for, you know, Kamala, not because she's black, but let's face it, she's smarter. So you're going to put a stupider person in there. So that means that, what are you saying about yourself? How do you view yourself? How do you view how you want to try to talk? Oh, I want to uplift, you know, minorities and uplift black women and uplift our community. And then you got a golden opportunity to do it, and you just refuse. But I'm going to get out of here on that one. Thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you, George. I'm going to give you the full screen, and then we're going to get out of here, man. And it's been a great show. You guys come alive, stay alive in the comments. Again, our opinions are just for entertainment purposes only. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys next week. But George, I'm gonna let you go ahead and have it, man. So we can get out of here on a positive note, and then I'm gonna come back with my positive.
All right, folks. Hey, first off, Happy New Year. May this new year be prosperous for everybody, and everybody stay blessed up and put God first on everything. And look, when we produce this Funketeer concert, this Mothership Festival, come on out, buy your tickets. We'll set up the line for the tickets to come up soon, and everybody can get their tickets. There'll be a VIP ticket, concert ticket, and there'll be a workshop ticket for Garrett's workshop. So come on down to San Antonio around the end of July, and we're gonna have a ball, y'all. So hey, just come on out, buy your tickets. It's gonna be a funky get down party, y'all. So that's what I want to say, and thanks for Zach and Mr. Mark Lee and everybody for setting me up in here for the first show of the year. P-Funk forever, and Compton love for life, and keep those peace signs together, y'all. Funk, not flight.
Yo, it is Mr. George the Funkovici Hudson. I'm going to leave you on the screen for mine, George. What I wanted to say to everybody is, first of all, peace, love, and harmony. Thank you for tuning in again. I don't really have a soliloquy to do. I did mine at the top, but I was saving this for the end. I wanted to congratulate my co-producer, Mr. Mark Lee, on becoming a published author, and I'm going to have him come back and tell us about it. So, Mark, you are my closing statement for today, and I want to thank you for always being a great producer, an amazing human being, and amazing brother to me. And I wanted to congratulate you to our audience and tell us a little bit about you becoming a published author.
Yeah, my good friend Brian Shulman and his lady partner Nancy Barrows got together, and they had asked several people that were involved with this Voice Your Vibe group that was doing the shout out Saturdays and what's good Wednesdays, or what's up Wednesdays on through LinkedIn and everything. So they asked several of us to write a passage and everything like that. And I learned recently, within the last day or two, that we have been award-winning content, because we were all writing about what was going on during the pandemic and how those kind of like cartoons and kind of like things that we were doing, including a lip sync battle. That's right, yours truly was actually involved in the lip sync battle, because I even had a whole routine where I would claim that Jimmy Carter or other people had actually voted for me, even though they had not voted for me. But it was just kind of a joke routine that we had that was constant and everything like that. And I was always defeating Brian in the contest, and it was just kind of good humor to kind of get us through what was going on with the pandemic. So there were several of us, including a Canadian Olympic champion, a young lady from Tanzania, and Tim Sohn, who had done the leukemia challenge and had been involved in the leukemia battle, because he's a leukemia survivor, or a cancer survivor, I should say, and everything. So we were all just kind of sharing our positivity and the joy of being positive people. And so there's about, I think, 45 to 50 of us that were featured in this book. There's actually supposed to be a event, I think, on this coming Thursday that will be celebrating and us all getting to meet each other and talk to each other online again and everything like that. That's still in.
Where can they find the book?
It's called Voice Your Vibe, because that's the name of his organization. Is Voice Your Vibe.
Where can they find the book?
They can find it on both Amazon and Kindle. So they go on Amazon and Kindle and type in Voice Your Vibe by Brian Shulman and Nancy Burroughs. They will see that I am one of the chapters there and everything along those lines. And there's even a possibility, I got to get with both you and George, that another friend of mine, IPC, is working on a musical, because he wanted to first make it into a movie, but now it looks like it's going to be a musical, and that was one of the people involved with the Funky Eye puppets and everything. So he's sent me an NDA and something like that. So I might also be a published, not just a published, but a actor, a voice actor in that particular production. I've got to get with him and the gentleman from Europe. I think he's from England and everything, about some rehearsals and everything. But I know that he wants good music, so I got to make sure that we've got some music from the Nappy Head Funk Army and some good art, so which means I got to get some George art in the movie as well and everything. So we're going to see if we can do that and see if we can connect you to that gentleman, because he's actually close to you, George. He's actually in California. I think he's in Chico, California, if I'm remembering correctly. So we've got to plug
George is in Texas.
Yeah, no, he's in Texas, but Texas and California are closer than North Carolina to California, which is the point that I was making.
And I always go to California. Oh, and by the way, the show Mothership Festival, Pro Trailers, San Antonio.
Oh, cool.
So congratulations, Mark. I appreciate you, man, and all the hard work that you do. And, you know, everybody out there, you know, continue to keep the faith, continue to stay positive and uplifted. And, you know, we're going to get out of here on this one. And we'll see you guys next week. Y'all have a beautiful, beautiful Saturday.
Hey, yo, man, what time is it? You know what time it is, man. 2 a.m.? Yeah, man. Man, you know what? What's that? It's 8:46, bro. Wow, that's deep. Yeah, you know what time that is. Yeah, man. Nappy Head. Yo. Funk Army. What's up? Stand up. Get it live, y'all. Yo, drop that beat. You know what we gotta do. Yeah, man. We bringing this funk just for you. Repeat after me. Say, you don't have to be the best, just gotta outlast the rest. You don't have to be the best, you don't, just gotta outlast the rest. You don't have to be the best, just gotta outlast the rest. You don't have to be the best, just gotta outlast the rest. United we stand, divided we fall. Should our backs ever be against the wall, we'll be together until the jam is done. I'ma say that again for you. United we stand, divided we fall. Should our backs ever be against the wall, we'll be together until the jam is done. Here we go, y'all. Now let me tell you a little story about United We Stand. It says we're gonna funk across this funkless land. We gon' stand up and let our voices be heard. We ain't gonna let nobody stop us from spreading the spiritual word. The ruthless corporate greedy don't give a damn about the needy. We need everybody in the house to join us on this one, all right? Y'all say, united we stand, divided we fall. Should our backs ever be against the wall, we'll be together until the jam is done. Are y'all out there? You feeling it? United we stand, divided we fall. Should our backs ever be against the wall, we'll be together until the jam is done. Yeah. Check. 1, 2, 1, 2. United we stand, divided we fall. Funkin' with the poor people most of all, as they poison our mind with food control. Third eye is wise, sacrifice. Wake up and see what they doing to you and me. Keeping a separate product of Illuminati, like the jail cell did my boss John Gotti. Dirty politics and high-priced prostitution reside in all the important positions. Just look around at the injustice in the world. Some forced to live in a deplorable conditions. Watch us, watch what we do. This rap is coming up just for you. So sit back, relax, check out our phone calls. The Nappy Head Funk Army always bumping in your drum. Twitter, tweet, TikTok. The ruthless corporate greedy give a damn about the needy. A movement, genocide and homicide is happening all around the world. Promise me this, promise me that, when all the fat cats stabbing us in the back. Man, get off my back, bro. Killing me. Let me see you wave your hand. We all wanna take a stand. Rise up against the corporate man. Let me head all across this land. Oh yeah. Nothing but this new type funk 2022. Let me see you wave your hands. We all wanna take the stand. Rise up against the corporate man. Let me head all across this land. Come on, y'all. Come on, man. United we stand. Divided we fall.